Hi everyone, a very good afternoon for joining the webinar. So, okay, I can see. Okay, all right. I think we have a good number of people already joined. So, I am Deepan and I am representing Tech for Social Good today. And with me is Piali. I'll be the host for you today, and Piali will be the one who will actually take you through the DPDP side in a bit. So, really glad you could make time for your daily schedule. Thanks a lot. We'll start in a bit. So, just a few quick things before we start. I would like you to rename yourselves to your first name and your organization name so that we could identify you people by your organization and your name. And for the second rule, we have it would be I'd be glad to ask you to open your camera and keep your microphones off.
Deepan, your voice is breaking a little bit. Maybe turn off your video for a while. Maybe let's see if the bandwidth improves. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, am I audible clearly?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Okay. And for the third one, we don't have any separate Q&A session in the end. So I think it's better to ask the question when it pops up and just send it in the chat. So let's start. We'll just give 30 seconds for everyone to give the video on. Okay, moving on. Uh, I would like everyone to just drop in the city in your chat. Just curious how much this spreads. I'll do it first. Okay, I can see from Lucknow, Jaipur, Mumbai, Chennai. So three people from Jaipur, four people from Mumbai. Okay, Pune, Bangalore, Delhi. Okay, nice. So quite a number of people from Jaipur and Mumbai, I see. I think it's time. So let's just dive into the main session now. I'll hand it over to Piali to start with the new session. I'll stop sharing my screen. Go ahead with the session. All the best for all of you.
Let me get started with sharing my screen. There we go. Now, so I think first thing first, because we all joined this call, I would request everyone to put themselves on mute. I can see some background noise. Thank you. So let's start with the basics. So we all have joined this call to understand DPDP and to understand what it means for the HR team. So let us understand the basics, which is the DPDP fundamentals first. So yeah. So first, what is DPDP? Some of you already might know it, but for some, it might still be kind of, maybe there may be the clarity that you guys need. So I'm just going to go through and give you an explanation around what is DPDP. So it's India's first data protection law. DPDP stands for Digital Data Personal Data Protection Act 2023. It is actually governs how organization going forward will collect, use, store, and protect people's personal data. So this is what DPDP is. Any organization that collects data of any personals in any form and format would be responsible to would be responsible for managing it under DPDP Act. Now, if you hold personal data, you are covered. Size of the NGO doesn't matter. So even smaller to larger, all size of organizations are covered inside it. So the size will not matter. So that is the basics of DPDP. Now, there are a few terms that we need to know before we move on and understand what what's the rule and what HR has to do. So some terms that you have to know. First is data principal. The data principals are the person whose personal data you hold or the organization hold. For example, it can be the employees of an organization. Then we have data fiduciary. An organization that collects, manages personal data is the data fiduciary, and an NGO is in this definition a data fiduciary in terms of DPDP law. Then we have data processors. The data processors are your vendors or any third party who manages the data on behalf of your organization. For example, in terms of HR data, it can be your HRMS provider. So these are the three people that are kind of in the DPDP Act. These are the three definitions that has been given. Now your organization is data fiduciary and there is an organization that can be data processor. But in terms of the legalities, the data fiduciary, which is the NGO, is responsible for making sure that you're complying with the DPDP. So in terms of legal, the legal responsibility is always with the data fiduciary, not with the data processor. They are the ones the data fiduciary is hiring for them to manage the data, but in terms of legalities, the data fiduciaries are the one who are mainly responsible. So I'm just going to pause here. So in the terms of what is DPDP and all of these terms, is there any question before I move to the next slide? Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Both are fine. Okay, if not, then I'm just going to move on. Now, these are the three terms. Once we know these terms, now what is at stake? I think as per the law that will be enforced from the next year, there is a maximum penalty of 250 crore. Obviously, it's a maximum penalty and it can vary, but yeah, that's the maximum penalty that's there as per the law. And the organizations are the data fiduciary. So your org is deciding why the data is collected, how it's being stored and used. So it is legally accountable for it. So no matter your partners, no matter your vendors, however many people that you have in the entire ecosystem, that the organization is primarily responsible, and the trust and the accountability is on the line, because everyone's data that the organization is managing, including the funders, donor, the beneficiaries, everyone is kind of putting in touch to the NGO that they will be doing the right justice to the data and they will be using it properly. So this is what's in stake. Now, before we move and dive deep into it, let us know the dates. So in 2023, in August 2023, the DPDP law passed, right? Then in 2025, the implementation rules government has created. Now, today is the time when the organizations should start preparing, because by next year, May 2027, most of the DPDP compliance requirements will become mandatory. So this is the time when best time for an organization to start preparing for it. Um, there is someone who has not muted themselves. Just give me a second. Perfect. Yeah. Now, these are the dates that we have to know. Now, although it's May 2027, but the runway for the organization to make sure that they are DPDP compliant is kind of less than a year. So that the deadlines is may feel a little far, but mapping and organizing starts now, because it's not too far, because it's just less than a year. Now, in this session, I'm just going to take you through what would be the agenda for the session now. So we learned about a little bit of fundamentals right now. Now, let us talk about what we will be covering today. So in the scope for today's discussion will be all data related to employee and HR practices. So we are going to talk about only HR and employee data. What is not we are going to talk about today, which is the program beneficiary donor data. These are also important, but a separate in-depth session will be needed. So just in the interest of the time, because we just have 1 hour, we are just going to keep the scope very tight, where we're only talking about HR and employee data. Just give me a thumbs up if this, as of now, whatever, like this scope is clear to everybody. Okay, I have got a few thumbs up. Thank you. Now, okay, over to you, Deepan, for this.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. So let's do a quick activity now. I'll share a survey on the screen. It will pop up right now on your Zoom meeting. Yes, I hope everyone can see it right now. So what I need you to do is I need you to select the options that are available for you, and where do you store actually all the employee information. It's a multiple choice answer, so you can select multiple options as well. Okay, I can see Excel and Google Sheets are very clearly. Okay, so almost everyone has voted already. So Excel and Google Sheets are the highest number. It's an 89 percentage. Some people are also using HR software, I see. I think this is the best time to move on to the demo part and show you exactly what PeopleHub is and how it can help you. Let
Before
me
we
just
move
share
to
my
the
screen. Okay.
Deepan, before we move to the demo, just give me 1 second to kind of
Okay.
share with the group what was the voting like. So I think just give me a second. Here we
Okay.
go. So in the vote, I think what we saw that most of us, like 88%, a very huge number is still managing it in the Google Sheets, Excel, Google Drive, and all of that. Very few, so there are also 50% of the organization that has the HR software. So I think these are the first two things that the organizations is using. First is the Google Sheet, Excel, and Google Drive, and then HR software. The remainings are also there, but these two options are in the majority. Now, before I'm just going to give it away to my colleague, Deepan, I'm just going to also talk you through the agenda and how we have planned this session. So right now, we just talk about DPDP fundamentals, where we talked about what is DPDP, the key terms, and the important timelines. Now, we will do a very quick demo of the PeopleHub HR software. The reason that we would do the demo, because right now, we just saw that there is a mix of platform where organizations are keeping the DPDP. I can see hear some background noise. Deepan, would you mind muting if, yeah, just give me a second. Sanjana and Amita, if you guys do not want to answer, like ask anything, can you please put yourself on mute? Thank you. So now we know the DPDP fundamentals. Before moving to the framework that we have for HRs, in order to be like DPDP compliant or DPDP at least aligned, the framework we talk about, before that, my colleague will be doing a very quick demo. The reason that we will do the demo before we go to the framework, because once we go to the 5-step framework where we give you the list of 5 things that an HR has to do, we would also take you through that in an HRMS, that how that can be managed. So we'll do a very quick rundown. So Deepan, over to you. Just take us very quickly around how the data for HRs can be organized, and then we'll go to the
Yes.
framework.
Okay. So let me share my screen. So welcome to PeopleHub. This is our HRMS platform. And as you can see, there are multiple apps in our ERP. And all the apps are categorized for different buckets. And currently, we have created 4 buckets: People Hub, Finance Hub, Program Hub, and Admin Hub. So I'll take you through People Hub and Finance Hub for today. Inside the People Hub, all these modules or apps are related to people management. So let me start with People app. So inside PeopleHub is a dashboard, and as you can see, it has all the details about you. If you move to employees section, you can see all the list of all the active employees in your organization. From here, you can add an employee as well. Moving on to the attendance section, there are you can see all the attendance related to that employees. We also have leaves, holidays, and notice boards. If your organization has biometric devices, you can also integrate them as well. So moving on to the next tab, we have recruitment. So inside the recruitment section, all your job applications for your organizations, everything is listed here. If I click on the job section, as you can see, all the jobs openings are currently listed here. You can also click on job applications and see all the candidates that have applied for the job. From here in the status section, you can select the next status for the candidate, and it will automatically send the email to the candidate. Moving on to, we have also offer letter section where you can add an offer letter and send it to the candidate as well. Moving on to the next section, we have performance app. So inside the performance app, you can the admin or the manager can set goals for themselves, which they can achieve, and they can also record one-to-one meetings and create rating systems. Or the HR team can also create appraisal cycles as well, like this. So these are the main functions of the performance app. As you can see, we also have an LMS, but since it's showing blocked because we haven't currently integrated the LMS system into our ERP, but I would like to show you the LMS system in a different tab. So this is our LMS system. It's a learning management software that can be used by your organization to create and manage courses that your employees can take. Here you can see all the courses that are listed here for your organization. I would like to show you a quick demo of the courses and what it contains. For each course, there are multiple options. You can upload video, you can upload documents, you can also create quizzes for that. Moving on, we can also see all the students in the manage student section. And you can also click for an individual student. For example, say Ronnie. And you can see individually if what is the progress of that particular student, like this. We can also create certificates for the particular, yeah. So this is the certificate section as well. It can be branded as per your organization. So moving back to the ERP section, we have policies. So in the policies tab, mainly you can upload your policies and everyone can sign the policies as well. And for the sign section, it's basically to create templates for letters. And you can also generate the letter. It can be any letter, it can be any legal letter that your organization manages and sends. It can generate as well. And also it can be signed by two people at the same time. And then it can be sent. So this is all the apps for PeopleHub section. For the finance app, there are three apps, but I'll be showing payroll and expense since these apps are used by HRs mainly. For the payroll section, as you can see, there is an employee salary section where you can define and all the basic components of an employee salary. And we can also generate payroll from here. If we select an employee, maybe select use attendance and select employee. And you can hit generate. So it will generate the payroll from this software. And after that, I can select and hit mark paid and send payslips. So this will basically send an email of the payslip to their directly to their inbox. So we don't have to send it separate from here. And for the second app, we have expense section. Here in the organization, if anyone is spending something, they can submit the expense and it can be directly approved or rejected from here. And we also have an expense report section where you can generate a report between particular dates and as per your requirements. We also have other apps for other purposes across different managements for the organization. But that is a different story and we'll deep dive in a different session for them. Now I would like Piali to continue with the session regarding the.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's
Deepan,
start
if you
sharing my
please stop
screen.
sharing your
Yes.
screen. Thank you. So that was a very quick demo, and we wanted to give that because the next part, when we talk about the DPDP framework for the HR, it would be an important part because there is some parts that are connected. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the 5-step DPDP framework for the HR. There are 5 things that an HR team must do, and you will also be able to get this after the call. We have a so you can just pay attention to the call, and if you want to take notes, you can, but we will also be able to send you something right after the call. So you can also leave it. Now, the first thing that an HR has to do is that, or the HR team, not an HR, sorry, that you have to understand that what type of employee data you're collecting, and you have to kind of map your data and understand. You have to have a list of all the data that you collect in each of the buckets. So there are many buckets under which HR collects data. So you collect some data for payroll, payroll, you collect some data for their for creating their offer letter. So you have to know what you all collect and how that. So that is the first thing that you have to do, because you cannot protect what you haven't mapped. So have a list of data that you collect at different stages of an employment journey, and how PeopleHub will be able to kind of do this for the organization. So as Deepan was talking about, so in the PeopleHub, these are all the buckets. So you have people bucket, you have recruit bucket, you have performance bucket, and each bucket has a set of data that it's used. For example, payroll and expense also have a different bucket. So these are all the buckets under which data is being created. And inside that, then HR can decide what they create. So in the PeopleHub, we already have the buckets very standardized, as you
Sorry
have
for
seen.
interruption. I think you
Sure.
are sharing the screen for the people up, but it's not visible on the only
Right.
the PPT is visible.
Okay, let me go back to the PPT. So
Okay.
what I was saying that just the way that I was saying that the HR has to have a list of things that they're creating. Similarly, in PeopleHub HRMS, it literally have all these buckets. So your data is in either of this bucket, and inside the bucket you have all the policies. The inside the sign you have all your letters and documents. So the buckets are quite segregated already in this portal. Now that is the first thing that an HR has to do. Second thing, privacy notices must be updated whenever there's a personal data collected. So it doesn't, even if you, so there, every places where some level of data is being used, there has to be a privacy notice that we put on. In terms of PeopleHub, in the next update, what we have decided to do, in each of the modules that you see inside PeopleHub, whenever an employee or an org admin will come, there will be so we are adding a privacy policy right here. So every page will have its own privacy policy, and an employee and an admin can always click on that link, and that will open their privacy policy directly. So this is where we are going to place all the privacy policies, and each organization will be able to upload its own privacy policy. That was the second thing, that the privacy policies or the notices that this is what we collect and this is what we use. It has to be there in every data point. Third, take consent whenever it is needed. Now, I would use two terms here. One would be a legitimate use. So there are two terms in this particular section. The legitimate use doesn't need any consent. And when we said legitimate use, that means any data. For example, if you're collecting some data for processing payroll, for attendance, these are these are data that needs to be collected for that particular purpose. So you do not need consent for these standard data that you're collecting for payroll, attendance, and all of that. Whereas there will be some extras, like for this you need consents. The extras may be marketing photos, an employee photo on the marketing in any marketing document, an employee's photo even on your org website. That is not by default they are giving consent to. So that will be that all. If you have a wellness app or a third party sharing, like a vendor that's using the data for helping the organization, these will all be extras and they will need separate consent. Written consent is always better. So you need to make sure that all the data which is not under legitimate use, they are extras and they are being processed by the organization for some or some other HR purposes only, they have to have always consent. Now in terms of the consent, how we are managing it in the application, I'm just going to so there are two ways that we will be managing consent in the PeopleHub application. First would be the policies that an organization can literally upload their privacy and the data policy, and the employees will be able to sign and accept it. The second will be sign. It can also be a document that employee signs every time a new employee joins. So in the both the places, the employee can sign the document, and hence the organization can pick and choose where they would like to have that policy in place and get the consent from the employee. So these are the two places where we are taking consent, and where we are, yeah. So I'm just going to pause here. So far, we have covered first three of the things. First one was the know your data. Then it was privacy notices. And then what we talked about consent. I'm just going to pause and check with the room that if there's any question or any thoughts that are coming. Yeah.
Priyali, this is Nirmal here.
Hi.
My question is, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah, my question is, there are certain documents which overlap, right? Some are payroll, but at the same time, they are also of legal or statutory character. Now, for example, if I'm given a salary revision letter, right? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
if you're talking, you said
Salary
salary
revision
revision
letter.
letter.
So in that case, is it required that it has to be signed by the employee or the organization, because it's an organizational decision? So how does that work?
So even with DPDP or without DPDP, a salary or increment letter or a salary revision letter is something that has to be mutually accepted and discussed and all of that. So I don't think that DPDP changes anything. This would be a standard practice whenever a salary change, if it's increasing, decreasing, whenever there is any sort of revision, it has to be mutually accepted, and that's kind of there. And I don't think DPDP changes it as well. It's just a standard HR practice. Yeah. Okay. Any further questions from anyone, or we'll move to the fourth one? Okay, moving to the fourth point. The fourth point is very important, at the same time is the easiest one to ignore. Restrict your access. Everyone doesn't need access to everything. So make sure you have defined roles, you have defined things, that who has access to what level of data. Because when the access is not restricted, then data leaks and data breach can very easily happen. So yeah, access by role, and whenever an employee exit, you have to revoke the things. And this is something that I have seen is mostly ignored, especially when we have data across Google Drive, Excels, Google Sheets, and all of that. I just want to kind of do a sense check and understand. Do you think I have seen this happening quite commonly? If all of you also think that you have seen that access has been an issue, where the right people, beyond right people, there are access, I would like a raise of hand. Yeah, anybody who have seen that restricting access has been a challenge with the organization, and maybe all the right people doesn't have, maybe some people who doesn't have to have access to a document, they also have. So if there's anybody who has feel this in their day-to-day work, if you can just raise your hand or give a thumbs up. Okay. Right. So I do see a couple of people kind of agreeing to this. So I think this is another thing that you have to make sure that it's there. And in terms of an HRMS, so when we are talking about PeopleHub, here literally we have permission structure set up in terms of the entire application will have a set of permission structure which you set up inside people. Like you will have your primary admin, and you will have your I'm just going to go to the screen, so just to make it more kind of tangible for the audience. Now here you would be able to say, like, if it's a primary admin or the system admin, if it's an employee, and then some people will also be reporting manager. Beyond that, there are also app admins we can assign. Like, for example, each of the apps that you have seen, each one can have a different admin. For example, Recruit can have a 3 HRs managing Recruit, while as Performance may be given to access to only leadership and 1 HR, and all of that. So each application has its own permission, and for the overall app structure, you would have permissions defined in the people section, where we can decide someone is an employee or an admin of the system. So that's how the restrict access happens in PeopleHub, in the platform that we have. Last but not the least, it's a retention policy. Define when the HR and the personal data that you collect for your employee is, how long it's being, when it's being archived, when it's been deleted, and have a set a policy and process to orchestrate that, right? So just knowing that, okay, we just keep it for 3 years, that's not enough. You have to have a policy, data retention policy, plus you have to have a process that gets followed very regularly. So this is the 5 things that an HR has to do. Now I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and come back to the call and just check if there's any question or thoughts that are coming. But these are the first 5 things that an HR has to do in order to start becoming DPDP aligned. Compliant is another level of things, but yeah, in terms of becoming DPDP aligned, these are the first things. Yeah, any question, any thoughts that are coming? Thank
Yeah,
you.
Mike.
Yes, so now I would like to pass it over to Dipan. Please go ahead.
Yes. So let's do a quick activity now. On your screen, you can see there are like 6 different cases. I would like you to read all of this, starting from uh, so that we can understand how many of you have experienced any of this. So the first one is salary details on personal laptops. Uh, Second one is having the extra activity, still they have the access to that. And third is storing the employee data on a Google Drive. The fourth number is no notice or consent for what's collected. And for the fifth one, maybe the data is kept forever and never removed for even for employees that have left the organization. And for the sixth one, it's the same data is scattered over different platforms. So if you have faced any one of this, I would like to have a raise of hands. So it would help us to understand that how many of you are having the same issue. So
So I have raised my hand because I have seen many of this.
yeah,
Even in our organization, we are working towards making sure all of these 5 things are things. So I
yes,
have my hand raised. So if anyone would are kind of have seen any of these or experience and can relate to any of this, please raise your hand. So I got a few thumbs up, but if you can just raise your hand, yeah. I think we are also getting some responses on the chat. Yeah, feel free to add it in the
yeah,
chat as well.
okay, okay, cool. Number 6, yeah, number 6 is kind of the problem we all face actually. Okay, I think we have got a couple of responses now. Uh, Now moving on. Okay, so number 6, yeah, I see a no number of 6 than any other option. I think that clearly defines that how we can identify the problems that we are facing, and since there's DPDP, we can also come up with a solution to that. So let's continue now, and I'll hand it over to Piali to proceed with the next steps.
Sure. Okay, now, in the last 30 minutes that we have been in the call, we have seen what are the 5 framework, like the 5 steps that the NGO, HR or the HR team has to kind of do. Now, I would like for every one of us to kind of do like a very quick assessment. It will be taking you 5 minutes. My colleague Deepan will be adding the link to the chat. If you just click on this link, that will come onto the chat. It will only take 5, it will ask you 5 questions, very, very standard 5 questions. All of these 5 questions will be related to one of these 5 parameters that we talk about. So 5 questions, 5 minutes, and you will be able to see instant score. So the score will be something like 0 out of 5, 1 out of 5, or 2 out of 5. That will tell you. So if you're getting 1 out of 5, means one out of the 5 things that we have to put in place is in place, right? So Deepan, please send the link
Yeah,
to the chat, and
yes,
I
I've
will
already
request
shared the link.
everyone. And
Please.
when you take the assessment on this portal, there are just 5 questions that you're answering. You would, once you submit it, you will also get it on your email. And if you once you get it on your email, you will also be able to have a list of all the 5 parameters that we're talking about. So you do not have to take a notes or anything. So just go ahead and fill this particular thing, that link. And the moment you do that, you will be receiving an email as well with the submission. It will also give you the submission will also have the parameters that we talked about. So it will be a record for you to go back once you leave the call, when you're talking about when you're discussing DPDP or thinking about DPDP for your organization. So the 5 step framework will be there. if you're done with this survey, just please put a done on the chat.
Okay. So we are expecting to get around 20 to 22 responses.
Yes, so I can see there are 2 people who have already done this. For whoever it is done, please check your email as well. You must have got that score as well. Once you are done with that, you will be able to see the score yourself, which will be like a very initial diagnostic. So I can see right as of now, just give me a second. I'm just going to check the responses of the question and just to make sure that how many submissions we have. Okay. We have around 12 submissions as of now. So I think around 12 of you have already done this. We also are getting some done here. Okay. Yeah. So, Shruti, the responses that you're seeing, it's just a yes or no question, yes, no, or partially. And it is not being shared with anybody. The only reason that we had to kind of put that email because we wanted to send you something right on the call. And we thought this form will be able to do that. So yeah, it is not being shared with anybody else, and we would going ahead now. We are also doing one more thing. We are in the next from the next month onwards on the all the surveys that we do, we will actually add like a privacy note itself because that's part of the DPDP that whenever a form is created, it has to have a privacy notice on how it's being used in a very short form. So yeah. And this doesn't give us anything beyond just saying that it may be partially or no. So we don't even know what exactly is the state. So it's the data is definitely not very sensitive. So it can be partially or no, even if that doesn't see us much more beyond just that. Yeah. So I think just give me a second. I'll just check the screen and to for the group here, I'm just going to give a glimpse of what we have seen. So far, we have received around 21 responses, and just give me a second. I would just. I'm just gonna take a screenshot. Okay, so we now coming back, I will just share my screen and I'll just give a glimpse of what's kind of the status overall of the people who have joined this call. This is kind of the status where we have a variety of organization. Some people have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We haven't got any zeros so far. So I think there is a various. So I think most of the organization, as we can see, these graphs are higher than the rest, 4 and 5. So hence we have more of the NGOs in 1, 2, or 3, and there are also some NGOs who are in 4 or 5. So that's the results or the what all of us in the room are kind of have going on now. Moving on, so as we all understand that the 5-step framework is only like a very high level diagnostic. It doesn't go any deeper into now what has to be done, what's there. So it's literally a very high level diagnostic, and always when you are talking about any compliances, it comes with a very high level diagnostic before it goes granular, right? So what you have done and what you have received in your email inbox, it is a very high level diagnostic. You have got a score overall out of 5 where you are. Now for the next steps, let me take you to what we would be suggesting for the next step. If you want to go from this high level diagnostic to a granular kind of step-by-step support in terms of the DPDP for your HR team. So we are actually we will be doing a 30 minutes free consultation with with HRs, whoever is interested for it. In that particular call, what we will do, see the high level diagnostics, and then we will just discuss about what is in place and what's not in place, so that the HR leaves with a checklist of things they have to go once they go back. So we will talk about the high level diagnostic out of 5 where they are, and then in each of these steps that are there, what will be their work plan for it. So we will be able to do that. So we have decided to do a free 30-minute consultation with any organization that would like to go deeper than this initial diagnostic. Now, in order to you after the webinar from Luma itself, you will be receiving an email with a link to book a one-on-one call with me. You can click on that and book that call with me from the link itself, and you can also email me. I will actually ask my colleague Deepan to put my email ID on the chat, and
Yes.
these are the 2 ways you will be able to reach out to us and book the call, as well as reach out to me directly if you have any further question. I'm just going to stop sharing and just come to the screen. So now we will be, what is the validity period? I'll just check some questions, and then any question, concern, or any follow question that is coming to the group, just ask. I can also see there are a couple of questions that has already come. What is the validity period for the consent as per the rule? See, there is no validity. So the DPDP rule is not saying that when you take a consent, it is only applicable for a certain period. It is letting the organizations to decide what their policy says. So your policy says we take consent every year, or your policy says we take consent the first time employee joins, and that stays active for the entire employment period. So it is completely up to the HR and the organization to decide the policy. The DPDP rule is saying that have a policy and have that policy in practice and enforced. It is not giving you kind of very fixed mandate that consent has to be collected every 1 year. It is for the flexibility is with the organization. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so I think we are towards the end of the webinar. So right at 4 p.m. you will be getting that email where you can book that call if you want to get into the details, and if you want to have a checklist with you, which will be one-on-one, obviously, because in a big group you cannot go into minute details with an NGO. And if you don't have any questions for now, and yeah, look out for that email. It will come at 4 p.m. right on dot. If you have question, you can stay back and ask them. If you don't have question, I'm going to give back 15 minutes in your calendar. We are done a little earlier than we thought we will be. So yes. So yeah, if you have questions or if you want to discuss anything, feel free to stay back. Else you can drop out, and again, you're getting 15 minutes back.
Also, you have any question regarding the session in between, if you have. Okay, I think there's a question. I would like to answer that.
Yes, Akriti, you are absolutely right. All the consents that you are taking, it does say that whatever data you are collecting, it has a particular purpose, and once the purpose is done, the consent becomes void. But at the same time, how if you want to have a periodic consent or documentation done with the employee, that is with the organization. But I think yes, you got the nuance correct here. I think it was a mishap. I think I forgot to mention that. But yeah, you are right. But even during the so there are two. I think if you're going to the if you're getting into the nuances, so there are two things. First of all, the organization can decide how often they take this consent, they create these documentations internally and all of that. And secondly, this is a by default thing that Akriti has mentioned. Any data that you collected, it is only they are only giving you consent for that particular purpose. So that's why if you want to use it for any other purpose, you have to obtain consent again. So this is kind of a by default thing that's there as well. Yeah. Thank you, Akriti. I think this was adding to the discussion that we have had. So yeah,
Pleasure. I actually read the PPT for the DPDP, so yeah, I just remember that.
perfect.
Yeah.
So we are going to stay on the call until 3:50. And I guess if you have questions or if you want to ask anything, you can stay back or you can kind of also drop off. and have some tea, maybe.
Piari, I had one more question actually.
Sure.
So as you have mentioned that there will be one more part for DPDP for donor purpose, right?
Yes.
So since we are into the NGO, we actually require that session. So when can I expect that session from you? I really
So
need the understanding for that part.
thank you for asking that, Akriti. As
Mm.
of now, I haven't planned, but I just want to do a sense check from everyone else on the call. Do you guys also think a donor session is will be kind of helpful? If it is, then let me know, because I would be happy to kind of conduct that as well. So we have maybe 6 people in the room. So Akriti, let me just check with everyone, because if there's enough demand, like at least 5 to 10 people are also interested, we would definitely do that.
Sure.
Okay, so Akriti, what I'll do now, so there is an NGO fundraising group, right? Are you part of that?
No, actually.
Okay, so what in the fundraising group now? So I was thinking to put this as a question, that we were planning to do an DPDP for what happens with the donor data in terms of DPDP, and I
Mm.
put that into the chat, and I do have your number directly because you have signed up for the things. I will
Yeah.
let you know if we are doing this or not. Okay, I'll
Sure.
I'll I'll message you separately. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Piali.
Bye. Take care.